Hey, 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 hey. Hi, everyone. Hiya, Paul. Why do you look like you're frozen?
I know this thing is very temperamental, isn't it? Huh?
I
Hello,
know.
everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome to Gym Time, everyone, and another episode. I believe that this is like episode number 14 already. Do you know that,
I
Paul?
think it is. It's gone really
Yeah,
quick, hasn't it?
gone really, really quick. So, yeah, what a privilege it is for us to come on again and do Gym Time with you all. We are excited about tonight's topic. It
Yes.
is one of those
Ah.
people really want to hear about. So we're looking forward to all your comments. We are looking forward to we actually said with this one, we will be sending out the link to some of you who want to go live with us and have a conversation about this particular subject. So we're looking forward to that as well. We're going to put it out there. If anyone wants to come in live with us and have that chat, then we are going to send you the link and then you will join us live. So that will be good. So you're going to go ahead with your disclaimer, Paul? Oh, don't tell me you've frozen. You've frozen. Oh my God. Hi, everyone in the chat. I got my cousins on here. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Mel. Hi, Vivine. Good to have you on board. Who else do we have on here? Let us know where you are chiming in from. It will be great to know who's on the chat with us. Feel free to use the chat. If you've watched any of the other broadcasts, you will see that the chat just gets popping till we try to catch up with what you guys are actually saying. But we read out all of the chats, so be prepared for that as well. So yeah, what is NC again? North Carolina. Hiya, Janice. Great to have you on board. Paul seems to be having technical problems, so I will wait for a little bit. Good to have you on board. Hannah, the other Hannah, another Hannah from the UK, from Chislehurst. I don't know what goes on with his thing. I'm sure he doesn't pay his bill or something. There's just something not right. Hiya, Antonelle. Thanks for joining us once again. And now he has totally dropped off. His one can be so frustrating. Like some weeks it's really good, and then other weeks it's just total pants. But that's okay. He will be back on. So I hope that you all have had a wonderful weekend and ready for your week ahead. Over here in the UK, a lot of the children have gone back to school today. So some of the parents feel like they've got their lives back a bit. But yeah, it's been difficult and challenging for some people during summer holidays. I know in America the children have probably gone back probably a week or two, or maybe sometime in August actually, because I think they break up in June. But my cousins are on board, so they probably can set me right with that. So yeah, Paul is having technical problems, as I said. This is a holiday for us. Oh, you're in like North Carolina because it's a holiday, because normally you're in Florida, right? You're back in Florida. I try to keep up with you. I can't keep up. Can't keep up with. Oh, so they go back on the 6th of the 9th. I thought that they go back before us. Maybe not. So we are looking forward to this topic. It is something that people have been requesting. And so we thought that we would just come out with the topic. And I know that there is a lot of people that's got a lot to say about this. And oh yeah, it's Labor Day in the US. I did see a couple of posts about Labor Day. Not that I actually know what Labor Day is. I don't know what you guys do apart from celebrate, I guess. But I saw someone with a rifle shooting, saying it's Labor Day, and I just thought, okay, maybe they shoot on Labor Day. I don't know. But yeah, so like I said, we are going to have 1, 2, or maybe 3 of you join us in the chat, and I'm looking forward to that. To be quite honest, I really would like to hear people's mind in regards to this. And I know that people's got their various different views about this. So again, just please share with us. It will be absolutely great. Greetings from hot Florida. I wonder how hot it is out there. We've actually cooled down. Our temperature has cooled down quite a bit over the last week, which has been quite good. We've had a bit of rain. again, that's been good. So here he is back on board. Labor Day, end of half, prep for the fall. Okay, here you go. What did you do? Did you just went and paid your bill quickly?
Do you know what? No, I've got the gerbils running. They're on the dynamo. They're running and running and running. They needed some food. That's all.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That makes
Do you know
sense.
what? I heard when you said as well, it's right. Some days it's just popping and it's okay. Then
Yeah.
other days it's just like, well, it's only on a Monday because it's never tested in the
I
other
know.
day.
I know. Absolutely.
I think it's funny because it's when there's a subject that's close to my heart and one of like last week, it's like the week before. This is what happens. So please forgive me if I drop off. I will come back and I will join the chat again. I'm going to do my disclaimer. Listen, everything we say, we'll do our best to make sure that you're motivated and empowered. Take this word, I'm trying to get it all out fast before it cuts off, innit? Yeah. We want to motivate you. We want to empower you. The things that we're telling you are things that we've gone through or experienced. And hopefully we can give you some solutions to the problems or the issues that you may have. So don't murder us, our names, if it's a case that you try and apply these things and they don't work. Fine tune it, fine tune it to who you are, and you'll find the solution to the issue, so that's what I want to just throw out there. That's it before anything happens.
Yeah. So we do a disclaimer for those of you who've never joined us. We do a disclaimer every week because we're not saying that we're trained therapists, we're not sex experts or relationship experts, but we are experts in our own right because we've experienced it. And I don't think you definitely need a title to be able to share your experiences. Absolutely. And so forth. Like some people's got degrees, as much as a thermometer, and they haven't experienced certain things. So we're coming from a place of experience. And like my brother said, we share. And my motto is, I don't know everything, but what I do know, I will share with you because I want to encourage and I want to inspire people to have really good relationships. And the things that I've learned, why not just share it with someone else? And
Absolutely.
it's like eating the meat and throwing away the bones. And it's like trying new things. It's like, oh, I haven't heard that. Maybe I can apply that. Maybe I can, share that with my other half, and implement certain things. Like I was sharing just the other day about me doing the anniversary thing in the garden, like glamping in the garden. And someone's like, wow, that was amazing. I think I might try something like that. And so it's really about that. So that's our disclaimer. We are going to crack on with the subject. Paul, you good?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Let me see. I'm just checking your mouth.
Innit? You got to try it, innit? It's like, wait. Let me test him and see what's there.
Yeah, because you could be there and I don't know if you're frozen. You know what I mean? So
you know what it is? Anytime I hear that my computer sort of backing itself up or the fan comes on, I realize that's when it happens. So I kind of have it tilted in the hope that it won't get too hot. Okay. It doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, I'm here for now, and I'll just keep on coming in if necessary as well.
That's what happens when you buy a cheap laptop. You know what I mean?
This actually isn't. It's actually more than your earrings.
There. They probably are more than my earrings. That's true. Right. So we are going to crack on with this.
The thing is that you could get a cheap.
You just froze a little bit again.
Let's crack on.
Yeah, you're breaking up already, bro.
Oh.
Talk. Here it goes again.
1 2 testing 1 2 3. Yeah.
I can hear you, but your mouth isn't moving. It's just, I don't know. You've actually just frozen. So I'm going to crack ahead. So are we weaponizing sex within? Are you weaponizing sex within your marriage? Now, the challenge with this subject is that there is the men and there is the women. That's why it's really good that I got my brother on, because this is commonly known for women, but men do it as well. And I was watching, this was quite some time ago, the therapy for those that are in the UK, and there was a couple, and everybody thought it was a real case scenario, but it wasn't. They was apparently acting, and they was in a therapy room, and they was getting therapy, and the woman was saying that her partner, wasn't her husband, her partner doesn't want to be intimate with her. And so I was going to bring up a clip of that, but I would have to edit it, and there was quite a bit of the conversation, and if I was to play it all, it would be quite long, so I'm just going to kind of go over what was being said. So she was saying that her partner would not be intimate with her, so she said that it gave her a bit of a complex, that he didn't basically find her sexy or attractive or anything anymore, and that led to her having low self-esteem, and then she didn't want to have sex with him, and so he now was saying, oh, but you don't want to be intimate with me anyway. And so what he was saying was, because of her attitude and the way how she portrays things, he didn't really feel, he said that he finds her attractive to look at, but it was because of her personality why he then didn't want to be intimate with her anymore. And so there are variations of things that people do in order not to have sex with someone. There's a reason why people are not doing it. Sometimes there's health problems, sometimes there's impotent problems, sometimes there's just trauma from past relationships. But what we are talking about is people actually using it as a weapon. So we know what it's like when you're using it as a weapon. So you're not going to, as a woman, saying, I'm not going to be intimate with my husband because he didn't do X, Y, and Z. That's weaponizing it. You withholding it, you saying that you've got a headache, you saying that you're tired, you saying all various things in order not to be intimate. And so when you start doing things like that, it starts to come across like you're weaponizing sex so that you can get your own way, and things will not work out good for you, my friend. It will not work out good. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your thumb's all over the thing.
Talk no, I just moved. Yes, testing.
Oh, okay, that's much better. So what I was sharing was a little bit of a snippet of the therapy. I don't know if you watched that, Paul, but it was long. The content was long, and so it was like kind of having to edit like lots of it, and it would have just taken so long. So I kind of like shared a little bit about the woman who was saying that her partner didn't want to be intimate with her anymore because he wasn't finding her attractive because of her personality. Mm-hmm. Visually, he found her attractive, but he was saying that he weren't finding her attractive because the way how she was speaking to him and so forth.
Yeah.
There are people that say when you have your children, you, as a woman, you go off sex. When you're on your monthly, you go off sex. I don't know about that one, because when you're on your monthly, it's like you feel like you want to have sex more, to be quite honest. A lot of my friends.
You're saying that, can you hear me okay, Deb?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because that's what I've always experienced myself, in growing up. That, women would say, and we talk frank here, by the way. Yeah. So,
if you've got kids in the room,
make sure
cut them ears.
Children in the room, and turn down the volume. Yeah, out the room before I make a comment. Hey. Really? Lord. I don't believe that this thing.
It is, though. And I really want to hear your thoughts. I really want to hear what you've got to say about this, because our conversations have been quite heated.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hopefully it will stay here. Yeah, I've heard women that, in my experience, they've said, I feel more horny during my cycle.
Yeah, that's true.
And so when and it's not, I guess it's not every size fit all. But if we was to use a percentage, I had a higher percentage of women that would say that than the women that didn't. And I don't know if they just fall into that category of, and I think it might also be mental. This is my opinion. Where you know what, I'm in a yucky place right now, and I don't want to feel like that. So it becomes a psychological thing.
It can do, I think.
Yeah, I just want to read this, if I can get this out, by God's grace.
Yeah, go on. Quick.
I will. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4 and 6. So we're talking about people who weaponize sex in a relationship or in a marriage. The wife's body does not. This is NIV, New International Version. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may be devoted, that you may devote yourself to prayer. King James Version says, again, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4 to 6. I put 6 on here. The wife has not power over her own body. Yeah, and I like this version because it says a bit more in your belly. The wife has not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband has not power of his own body, but the wife. Verse 5, defraud ye not one the other, except be with consent for a time. Yeah, I said it again, for a time. Yeah, that you may not give yourself, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer and come together again. That Satan, whether you're believers or not, you're tempted. Yeah. So whether you think it's coming from some other place, then so be it, whatever. But from our perspective as being believers, we know that there is good and evil. So the evil one, will tempt you. So come together again. That Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency. Yeah, you see that, for not being consistent. Yeah. Paul wrote this, I believe. He says, "But I speak this by permission and not of a commandment." So it's not a commandment, but it's wisdom. It's wisdom, And I think that if you take this and understand that your body as a man, it's not yours, and women, it's not yours. It's the other way around. Oh, well, I can't let no man's gonna just touch me. Yeah, listen, she don't touch me. Yeah, that it's not your body. Yeah, it belongs to your husband or your wife. Yeah. So if believers are on here and you're doing that, it's not a commandment, but it's wisdom. There's so many men and women who are that they say, oh, infidelity. Read this, yeah, that Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency, but so you're only supposed to do it in agreement and not out of a backlash of what you didn't like, he said, she said, all that malarkey, But we go through it. Well, I don't care. Well, you should care, because this is something that's damaging both parties.
Absolutely.
I've been there where 6 months I cut someone off because of what they did to me and what they said, what they actually said, they did and said to me. And at the end of it all, I was unfaithful. I didn't want this person anymore. Yeah. And I put out there, you can, I don't care about judgment. So, the only one who can judge me. So I put it out there because it's transparency, and we're supposed to be transparent, and honest. It's not a good thing what I did, but in the inconsistency of me as well, and because of holding feelings, I went elsewhere. Why? I was tempted. Of course I was tempted. Some would say, well, why didn't you because I was bitter in myself. I want you to just talk, Debbie, because I got some things that I researched. I'll read this and then I'll go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever I've got.
Yeah.
It says,
okay.
What is it? When you use sex as a weapon, you intentionally, I think you covered it as well, you intentionally withhold sex as retaliation for not getting emotional or physical needs met. You may also be overtly sexual in appearance. So you may dress up and tease, but you ain't touching me. Yeah. He comes and he's in his string vest, if you like the string vest, yeah, or his wife fronts, if you like the wife front. Yeah.
And strutting past you.
Or what happens is that, and this is what happens. Let me tell you the truth. And some of you men and women out there, you'll know this one, all right? Now, I think it's more the women than the men when I say this. You'll come in a room with your towel, drop your towel, cream your body down, put on your clothes, and go to bed. And he's there like, and he thinks, I wonder. And the moment that he reached, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or she's gone in the other room and she's on the phone or whatever else it is. But you saw it all, and men are visual. So let me just finish this little bit and then you talk, Debbie.
Go on.
Getting emotional, physical needs met. You may also be overtly sexual in appearance, but play hard to get. Controlling the amount of the amount and timing of sex can be a way to try to gain more power in a relationship.
That's what it's really about. That's really what it's all about. If you're ever using sex as a weapon, it is to gain power. And the thing is, unfortunately, it's more women than men that do that. And I like the way how that said, like, emotionally, because oftentimes it's an emotional thing, emotional thing why women are using it, because he hurt my feelings. And also what I did like you saying was, you know, you was bitter, and because you was bitter, you was withholding sex. And that's the thing. If you're resentful, if you're bitter, if you're angry, you're going to withhold sex, trying to get that person back. You're trying to make them bend to what you want them to do. And that's absolutely wrong. Like, why not have a conversation about it? Why not go and get some help, you know, to sort through your issues? But when you're doing that, you're withholding the sex from the other person, you're just adding an additional problem. And then when now that your partner, husband or wife, is not making advances, not wanting to touch you, not wanting to hold your hand, not wanting to kiss you, now there's that problem where there's the lack of intimacy, and that weighs heavily on a relationship. Because when you first started dating, most people, they're so attracted to each other, can't keep their hands off each other, can't wait to get married, and all of that. And then you're married. Normally, you go through that period where, you know, you're just like rabbits, and then it kind of might stray a bit because work commitments, kids, and all of those kind of things, which is understandable. But I encourage people, like, to set a time to be intimate with your partner. But if you're using it as a weapon, where you're saying, right, this person did me that, they said this, and because they said that, don't touch me, and then you want to come in and cream up yourself, put on the sexy underwear or whatever, and then get into bed, and then still be saying, don't touch me, you're just controlling. You're just trying to control a situation, and that's unfair. And trust me, when the Bible is saying, like, for a time, normally because of fasting, primarily because when you're fasting, you're consecrating, you're putting the flesh under subjection. But even with that, you're meant to ask permission from the other person. And if they say no, then it's no. It's no. Do you know what I mean? I plan to, like, you know, have a good weekend or something. So it's like, you know, you can't then say, oh, but I wanted to fast. You have to say, oh, okay, I totally understand. And like in the Bible, Paul says, it's not compulsory, it's not a commandment or anything like that. It is just pure wisdom. I wanted to share what Millicent said. Explain Gupta, and I believe that might be a doctor. Meanwhile, your desire boosting estrogen levels are building up, making a case for increased horniness. That was in relation to us saying, well, I was saying it during your period, that you might feel extra horny. And I know that it is due to the estrogen levels, like, going sky high. But when you are on your monthly, your husband's going to understand. You're not going to want to be intimate. That's understandable. That is not being controlling. But I know of women, so that they're not being intimate, have put on pads. Have put on a pad.
Wow.
So that their partner will think that they're on their monthly, and they're not. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because I don't want to be intimate. Well, why don't you just have the conversation with them? And it's like, things like that is because they want to control. They're not getting their own way and they want to control. Hiya, Dor. Right. So you guys, let us know your thoughts on that. Let us know about your thoughts on the weaponizing, because we're going to bring on some people who's going to have a conversation with us as well. You're frozen.
And
yeah,
please let us.
You're messing up again. Your screen's gone black. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that all of us as adults, we know what weaponizing is. What I want to know is how long typically would you say it's okay for someone not to be intimate? Because I know people when they say, oh, we haven't been intimate for like 3 months. And I'm like, 3 months? Like, I normally give my husband a countdown. Like, I'm like 3 days and that's it for me, man. Like, I remember one day he said to me, "Are you counting?" And I was like, well, yeah, I'm counting.
see, you know what, Debbie, that keeps, for a man, that keeps that buzz, that buzz alive, knowing that, you know what, my wife, some of you aren't married out there, so my girl, my man wants to ravish me, he wants to jump me. And, likewise, I liken sex in some respects like a business. You both have to invest. If one's invested and the other one's not, bankruptcy is going to happen. And you see, I look at it as how long can a woman or a man hold on, because intimacy, we talk about all the estrogen, and we talk about all the cells and this and that, but it's damaging to even your communication. Because you've got this in your head all the time. Everybody wants to feel loved. Even the toughest man and the gangster man, he wants love. Everybody, love is inside. You've been created through love, so love is in you. And so, the ultimateness of love, I believe, is coming together, as one, and I just detest, I have friends who their wives sleep in another room.
That's not a relationship. That's not a marriage.
That isn't. How can you be sleeping in the other room because, for whatever reason? Oh, I heard someone say, he snores.
Yeah, that's an excuse.
It's an excuse. Exactly.
It is an excuse. Yeah.
I can, especially if it's hot, I can sweat down the bed.
Yeah.
Now imagine my wife using that as an excuse. Well, boy, I don't want to sleep in the bed because you're just sweaty.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look at getting some towels on the bed for me.
Yeah.
But whatever,
we've had to do that because I sweat a lot. Do you know what I mean?
And Dad used to sweat like anything.
I sweat a lot, but so does Gary. He sweats a lot. And if we are really hot and sweaty, it's like you better just put down a towel, or I might just have to put down a towel because you can get that hot, especially how it has been like this summer. It's been extremely hot. But what I wanted to ask you, say for instance, the sexual side of things go. Don't you find that sooner or later, the holding of the hands, the kissing, the caressing of the thigh, the stroking of the back of the neck, all of those things start to fade also, don't you think?
Yeah, they do. See, I'm a very touchy-feely person, and I had to learn as well that sometimes that groping, it's not that, and this is for you, some men out there.
But that's groping. Groping's different.
No, when I say groping, I mean, you come and you're stroking and everything else like that. But I'm using an element of it that, as for some men, feeling you, touching your breasts or your vagina, from behind, or pushing yourself up. It's okay for some women. Some women actually don't like that, and you're always going for my breast. You're always going to squeeze my breast. sometimes, you know, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. You have to, instead of doing that, you might kiss her neck instead. You know, you might go into what we're saying about stroking. You know, you might come and just give her a little massage. She's washing up, you know, and you just come and you're rubbing her back, or, you know, you kiss her on her shoulder. You know, you give her a little nibble on her shoulder. You know, because
but you know what, Paul? If say for instance, like you said with the groping, yeah, and that woman don't particularly like that, that's for her to say, I really don't like that. And if there is something that your partner does do that you like, you saying, I like it when you do that. So
that's
because
right.
some people are not going to know, because especially if you've been in relationships before and that other person was fine, you coming up behind them and grabbing their breasts while they're washing the dishes. That person could have been perfectly fine with that. But now you're in a relationship with someone else, they might not like that. And it's for that person, that woman, to say, do you know what, that doesn't make me feel sexy. I don't particularly like that. And then when they do something that you do like, then you say, I like you doing that. Or you can make suggestions. You don't have to wait for the person, like we was talking the other week. You don't have to wait for the person to do something. But Don was saying, let me just put this up.
And what I want to say to you before you read that as well,
okay.
I got a friend who can't get in the chat. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to ring him and let him say what he needs to say. You know, I don't think he can get into live either. So Yella, I'll call you in a moment and then you can say what you need to say. All right.
Okay, cool. You guys are quite quiet in the chat, by the way, apart from Doran. I thought it was spontaneous, both people feeling the same. And then I said, what do you mean? And then he said, why only one in a relationship is getting horny, but both must feel the energy. But I think that if you're in a relationship with somebody and one of you are horny, the other person, it's for you to arouse that other person, because then they might not just get aroused just because you're saying that you're horny. You're going to obviously have to arouse the other person. But I think that if you're in a relationship with someone and like that person kisses you on the neck and it's a nudge of the shoulder, you know, or you try and caress that person and they move in their hand, there's a problem there. There's definitely a problem there. So me and Paul have various different conversations, and because this was a topic that we knew that people really wanted to speak about, we was having a couple of conversations, and I was coming from a point as a therapist, kind of, you know, coach, mentor, that kind of thing. And I was saying that I think that there are sometimes in relationships there is trauma there. And so because sometimes there's trauma there, that person might not want to be intimate. Now, if that is the case, then that person ought to speak up and they ought to go and get help and get support so that they get back on track. If there is challenges in the relationship because of past trauma, there could be molestation, there could be rape, there could be anything that, you know, you
even
could have
from a
been in
religious standpoint, Debbie, because some people see sex as dirty.
Right, this is what I'm saying. They could have been in a relationship with someone and the penetration was too much, and so now they're kind of fearful to be intimate on that kind of level, especially when you're first married to someone and you've never been intimate with them. It can be quite traumatic for some women. But this is conversations that you would have with your spouse. You will be saying to them, these are the challenges that I've experienced, and this is the reason why I'm finding having sex, you know, in our marriage difficult. It's to have that conversation and not just leave it there, but go and get some help and get some support so that you can get back on track. If you now stop having sex and you've already had that conversation and you both are aware of traumas or anything in that relationship, from your past relationship in your life or whatever, and then you still are not being intimate, then I would have to question why. You know, are you now using this as a weapon? Because there are ways that we can work through things. There are ways that we can say, right, this is what the problem is. Let us go and get help. If you're sick, you're going to go. If you're physically sick, you're going to go and get a doctor. Why is it that if there's a psychological thing that is going on, that people are not so quick to go and get the help and the support? You know, if your knee's not hurting, you're not going to be able to perform effectively, you know, doing anything, and you want to. And if you're married, your desire should be to want to be intimate with your husband or be intimate with your wife. You should be wanting to do that. And if you don't want to do that, then there is a problem. And I would start leaning on the fact that now you're using it as a weapon, because you've seen how it probably impacts that person. You probably getting that person bending over a barrel, doing all what you want them to do because you know that they want to be intimate. Tell me what your thoughts are, guys. Antonelle says, what if you are not involved with the other person anymore? If you're not involved with the person anymore, then there isn't a problem.
No,
you know, if the relationship is ended.
What did she say? I thought she said in love.
Oh, in love. I thought she said involved.
No, in love.
In love with them.
In love.
Right.
You see,
so
but
again,
then you see what I was going to say is that if you're not in love,
Rowan
that was a progressive.
He said to move on. He said to move on.
It's a progressive thing. You didn't just get there that you don't love this person anymore. It had to have been progressive, that it was always declining for whatever reason that it was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Yeah. It had to be down.
Yeah.
So if it was on the down, it was at those areas before it got to, I don't feel like I'm in love with this person anymore. I actually don't. I don't feel that that feeling of, that overwhelming feeling of wanting you. Had to be in a series of different stuff before you got there, you know? And so before you even get there, you should be dealing with that. But if you are there and you don't feel like you're going to be able to build on this by going counseling, whatever, you know, outside avenues that you're, you know, agencies that you're looking at, then you both have to come to that conclusion. I can't come to the conclusion. Debbie can't come to the conclusion. Even Doran, what he's saying, it's down to you to know, you know what, it's about to end. It's because I don't think that it's good to be with somebody if you're extremely unhappy and you don't feel that overwhelming feeling of togetherness. But I do believe that it can come back. I do believe with communication, you know, and understanding how you got there, I do believe that it can be rectified. You know, I was young. No one could have told me this. I was hot-headed. No, I don't want this person. No, because I hadn't understood about traumas. I hadn't understood about myself. I hadn't understood what I may have participated with by making that person feel a particular way. You know, and it's taken 2 marriages before I've got there. I'm not arrived completely, but I'm coming up 9 years in a marriage. You know, this is the longest relationship ever in my life, and the only one. I don't intend for this to end at all. You know, because I'm going to continue to work.
What I was going to do was throw a caveat, because I think that within relationships, like I said, if there are challenges in your relationship, then you ought to seek help. You can't then say, I'm not going to be intimate with that person. You not being intimate with that person is you now saying, I'm done. As far as I'm concerned, you're done within that relationship. Because if they're, like, for instance, I said that there could be some traumas. Okay, in relationships, there's lots of things that can happen. So you can only look at your relationship and identify the challenges that you've experienced within your relationship that may have brought you to the place where you might not be in love with that person. You might not be in love with that person because there's been a lack of intimacy. You might not be in love with that person because there could be infidelity. If there's infidelity in a relationship, it will be understandable why somebody is not going to want to be intimate. That's not weaponizing it, though.
That's right.
But if you're in a relationship and there's been infidelity, and then you decide to stay with that person, then you have to go and get outside help to restore that relationship. Because otherwise, at the point where you find out about infidelity, you've got a decision to make that you're going to either work through this with that person and forgive them, move on. And that means that intimacy might take a while to come back because that trust has been broken. But that means that if you make that decision, you're now going to have to get help to work on the challenges, to work on the issues, to speak through the things that have maybe brought you to that place. And if that can't happen, then it's going to be difficult and it's going to be challenging. But I would say to anyone, if you now have fallen out of love with someone, I would personally go and say, what is the reasons? Why have I fallen out of love with that person? I would look for all of the things that made me fall in love with them in the first place and try and work from that standpoint. Yeah, because, you know, it's like we was talking the other week where we was talking about, you know, ugliness, isn't it? And I was there saying there's always something about someone where you're just like, you know, their eyes are lovely or their smile is beautiful. You know, there's things about people, their personality, the way they look and things that can still keep you attracted. If there's none of that, I have to question whether it's actually worth it. Is your friend?
Have you seen what Doran said? I've just told I told my friend to sign up because I don't think he's got an account, and then come back to our channel and see if he can get in.
Okay, so Doran said, I've had a woman say to me they don't want to have sex with me because they will fall in love. Now, I don't know. You know, you see, I don't know. You could be in love with someone before.
Let me tell you what
that's their way of saying, that's their cop out. I think that's a little bit of a cop out there, Dawn, because you can fall in love with someone without having sex with them. What makes them think that if they have sex with you, they're going to fall in love with you? I don't get that. You know, I think that that's the way of saying, like, no, I'm not going to go there. But you know what? I think if you've got casual relationships and that person is inclined to, they've already got feelings for you, and that person now believes that if I was to now be intimate with you, I will fall in love with you, and this will not be the right situation at all for me or for you, then I can understand why somebody would say that, because they must know themselves already. They must know, you know, they're that kind of person that would just be overtaken with emotions for that person. So I understand it, but you know, you can fall in love with someone without being intimate with them. You said that's after 10 years relationship. Yeah, because if you've been around someone for a really long time, that person's probably already fallen for you, and they're just saying this will just solidify the fact that, you know, being intimate with that person is just going to make me just fall head over heels. Like, I don't know if I can live without that person, kind of thing. But I think that what is important is for us to look at the differences between weaponizing sex and just having challenges. And some of the challenges, like I said, could definitely be infidelity, could definitely be past traumas, could definitely be, you know, just that not attracted, you can, you know, for whatever reason. But I do think that stemmed from traumas, and I don't want to get that mixed up with people weaponizing it. Because weaponizing it is you making a conscious decision not to be intimate with that person, so that that person can kind of be put over a barrel. So you're withholding intimacy from that person because they haven't done something, or they have done something, and now you're now saying, because of that, I'm now not going to be intimate with you. And if you go back to in the beginning, when Paul was talking about the scriptures, I think it's self-defeating, because you now have put that person in a position where they want intimacy, they want to be sexual, and now you're causing, I wouldn't say, if somebody was to now be unfaithful, I wouldn't say that that would be totally your fault, but I think that because that person is now being put in a situation where they're getting no intimacy and they want intimacy, and so they're going non-negotiable, they are going to be tempted, because there are other men and there's other women out there, you know, and there's other men and there's other women that will find you attractive, non-negotiable, you know. And you have to remember that that person is not locked away. They're not like in like the basement, locked away. They are going to go to work, or they are going to go to the supermarket, or they are going to go to the gym, and there are other men and there are other women there, and you're putting that person in a difficult and challenging situation. That's my thoughts. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Paul? Oh, well, you're on. It seems like if you're trying to speak to.
Yeah, because there's something.
All right. So you've got someone there now. Are you ready? No, you're not. Right. Let me know your thoughts, guys.
On the phone?
Yes, they can hear you.
So
okay, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know how far you lot have got, but I just heard Debbie saying something about you know, if you love someone, about you could love someone, it doesn't mean to say you have to have sex with them, or you know. So what I was going to get at is the fact that relationships, and definitely sexual relationships, have different platforms, and love has different platforms and forms, because we love our families, but we shouldn't be having sex with our family members. No? Yeah? Now, as a heterosexual person, as myself, I've got male friends that I love. Bruv, I love you, yeah? I love my mate Martin, but I definitely don't want to have sex with you. But then again, I've got female friends, or I had a female friend that I loved, who I'd never had sex with, but on another level, I really did want to have sex with her. But she was my friend for over 20-something years, as in like from school, you know, right up until recently, we ended up that happened, you know. So that love that I had for her, which should have been a platonic love, like what I've got for my heterosexual friends, because I'm heterosexual, and I love my mate Martin, and I love that guy to death, you know, and other people that have helped me and through bad times, my male friends, yeah, I love them. So love is love is, it's different for different people and for different aspects of the relationship between you and that person.
But but what we're talking about in sex within a relationship or marriage, and so
the reason why he was coming with that was because the reason why he was saying that was because he was jumping off of the back of something I said.
One second. Spoke about that already.
Go on.
I don't know if you spoke about it already. Hand on my heart, I personally think that if the scripture had said that my body is not mine, it is my spouse's, and my spouse's body is not hers, but it's mine, yeah? Now, I don't know whether... Look, the Bible's been corrupted, yeah? It has been corrupted. Not everything in there is what God said.
But that's a different... That's a different subject in itself, because
man put some stuff in there... Man put some stuff in there for himself.
Yella. That's a different itself. We're talking about weaponizing sex. And though we use that scripture in itself, it's not, is that something that's said in a derogatory way? Does it take anything away if it's the case that, as it says, it's not a commandment? Yeah, it's not a commandment. What we're saying is that it's quite, it's wise, it's wisdom at the same time, because it leaves a door open. That's what it's really saying. Yeah. But I don't mean to.
For me, no. But for me, I get what you're saying. Then I get what you're saying. And if two people are in love, like that, obviously we are meant to be married first before we, consent to this act of what we all do. when we're not married, for the people that have done it when they're not married or not. And what it boils down to is the fact that, yeah, if you love that person, you know, you should want to have that connection intimately with them. You know, not saying that it's something, because everyone's different, you know. One man might want it every day. There might be a woman that wants it every day. Not everyone are going to be compatible in that sense of being able to keep up with the partner on what he or she wants. But on a whole, each one of them partners should want to, you know, get into that act with that person that they love.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Well,
so there's something wrong.
I hear you. And so I'm going to cut you because I'm going to leave it open for someone else who wants to come in as well. But
cool.
If you can get in to make comments on there, then please do. All right. But you had valid points there as well.
I'm going to try and see what I've got to do.
All right, Yella. All right. Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay.
Yeah. So he was going off the back of what he heard, that little bit that I was having a conversation about with that. So he was going off of the back of that. But again, when we're using the scriptures, you have to understand we are Christians. As far as we are concerned, we believe the word to be true. This is why we do our whole disclaimer thing. It's coming from that standpoint. You're absolutely, you know, you've got your points. They can be absolutely valid. What we are saying is that this is our standpoint. You don't have to ride on the same boat with us, but this is the angle that we're coming from. And so we do use biblical principles to help us in our relationships, to help us in our lives. And so because we use biblical principles, we know that they work for us. And like Paul said, it's not a commandment. It's just using wisdom in order to manage your relationship in a way that it will be fruitful. If you're applying certain things, you know, you want to see fruit from it. You want to see something good coming from it. And if you don't have anything that is guiding you, anything that is instructing you, then you're just left to your own devices. And most of the time when we're left to our own devices, there's chaos, there's anarchy, you know. And so we use the word of God to guide us and to instruct us in the way that we can live, you know, a more fruitful life. What I wanted to do, I wanted to share a little clip of this video with you. It's coming from the standpoint of a woman, where she's sharing about being intimate with her husband, and the reason why she doesn't think that you should weaponize sex. So I'm gonna pull that up now, and I am gonna share that with you all. 1 second. And then we would really like to hear your thoughts. And we would also like, if anyone wants to jump on and share their thoughts and opinions, that will be good as well. So here we go.
Ever use sex as a weapon against your husband? And have sex often is probably some of the most extraordinary advice I never got. As a working mom, we get tired, exhausted, overwhelmed. But it is dangerous to neglect our husband's needs. And I'll explain to you why. Sex is such a huge part of a man's identity. It's the way he emotionally bonds with us. And it's crazy because God wired his body this way. When a man experiences an orgasm, his body releases the bonding hormone, oxytocin, in such extraordinary amounts. Women experience it as well, but men do 400% times more. And so that skin-to-skin contact mixed with an orgasm creates deep connection. And I never just want to be a great mom. I never just want to be killing it in the workplace. But I desired for my husband to find me to be a good lover. Look forward to coming home to me. And through difficult conversations, because I was never taught this kind of stuff, I had to learn how to not look at sex as a chore or another responsibility on my to-do list, but enjoy my husband feeling respected and honored and wanted. Imagine if one day our husband came home and said, I don't feel like having sex with you. We would be massively offended and hurt. And so men need sex. It's how they came from the factory.
What was your thoughts on that? Anyone? Somebody?
What was
your thoughts on it?
Who, me?
You. Yeah, you. Who else am I talking to?
She was on point.
No, I'm talking to everyone else. They can
she
make
was
their
on
comments.
Point. She was on point. And again, if anybody wants to come in live as a part of the video, we can send you a link and you can come in and have a conversation about it. I think everything that she said made sense, you know, from how the fact is that if you're looking at it as a chore, another thing on the tick list, then that's fine, you know. If you're always looking at the negatives of that man or that woman, for those percentage of men that do it, it's not exciting, you know. So think that, you know, I'm a creative person, like, you know, like you, Debbie, you know. And I think that, and I'm obviously, for men, they say men are visual, but women are visual as well. And I believe that dressing up, buying a little outfit, whatever that's coming from the background of one of yours. I think that you should dress up, you know. Forget all this tree trunk, unless you guys are comical and you can laugh. But women are visual as well. You can buy your transparency little shorts, you know, and you come out of the bath or the shower or whatever else, and, you know, or she's in the bedroom, you put it on and you say, "Oh, baby, do you think that you can?" And you're standing there in it. What do you think's going to happen? You think she's, you know? And if it's just like to look and a kiss the teeth, then boy, you know,
it's
you know, it's one of those things. You've got to be creative, you know. You said something, Debbie, earlier on, when you got together in the beginning, it's all this can't keep. There's another song there, you
teasing, and all of that.
Can't keep your hands to yourself, you know, and you just want to be all over this person. Then all of a sudden you're with them and then it dies down. Go back to that place of intimacy. Go back to that place where you once was, you know, or even.
But do you know what? Do you know what? As
even
well,
better.
Paul, like I don't want to expose my husband, but, you know, it's not just down to me to make sure that I look sexy. Do you know what I mean? It's not just down to me. That's not how we do things. And I think that when we look at the challenges that people experience in the relationships and they're using the sex as a weapon, I can only go back to how do you work through the lack of intimacy? Because I think this is what I think, this is what I think. If you are using sex as a weapon, to me, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because while you're trying to hurt them, ain't you hurting yourself at the same time? Like, that's what I think. Because there's been times when, like, I remember when you know, me and Gary got together and I said to him, I've never used sex as a weapon. And he was so pleased to hear that. I was just like, because to me, it's like I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face. Because if I'm upset about something, I'm that person that I will park that thing. I will park that thing and leave it over there and then crack on. Do you know what I mean?
And some
because
people are not like that. It literally takes over every aspect of them.
It's got nothing to do.
They're two separate things, but it's been fused because of
it can spill over. And there has been times when I have been upset and I haven't felt like being intimate because I have been upset, genuinely upset, and my mind isn't even in the game. But that's very far and few. That's not me saying I'm not going to do it because of what you said or what you done or what you didn't do or what you did do. You know, that's because I'm genuinely upset about something, you know. But I think that if you are going to be in that place where you're going to weaponize it, you have to check yourself. You have to say, what is it within me that is stopping me from being intimate? And especially if you're in a relationship with someone for any length of time, why wouldn't you want to resolve that issue? Why would you want it to continue? Why wouldn't you want to be intimate with that person, and that person, you know, being intimate with you? Why wouldn't you want that? I just don't get it.
Here's something that one said, part of the studying as we do, we go and look at different things of what, like the videos or what other people say as well. This one says, point one, it says, if you nag and criticize your partner on a regular basis, you are using sex as a weapon by intentionally dampening your partner's desire. Some people will look at that and say, but I understand why they said that, you know?
Yeah.
And then they went on and said, generally, women need to feel an emotional intimacy before they'll engage in sexual intimacy, and nagging works against emotional intimacy. While men don't need to feel as much emotional intimacy as women, most of them don't want to have sex with a constant nagger. I just want to, I believe this is what Dora said. I use it as a weapon, and women love it because it's good and harms no one. Hey, if that's the beat of the drum for those type of women that you're with, then there's no harm, you know. But I think that
explain how you use it.
Explain how you use it. But I think that what happens as well is you can create more of a hunger, you know.
Right.
But
is it that you're using it as a weapon, or are you using it from the perspective of you think it increases their desire? When you withhold it, it makes them more hungry or ravishing? Because what we're talking about, weaponizing it, is you wanting to control them. So if you're saying that you use it as a weapon to control the woman,
the narrative,
women, then that's a problem, because then that's you controlling. But if you're saying you're for me, I think that you're bringing it from a perspective of, I'm trying to increase.
This is his perspective, Debbie.
Because it's sweet, they want more, and it becomes a turn on. Well, you know your woman.
That's right.
And so, and you did say woman. That's why I'm referring to that. Yeah. But again, if like Paul said, if that's your thing, then that's your thing. If that's what works in the relationships that you have, then that's what works in the relationships. But that's not.
I see it differently, because if it's sweet, and it's sweeter, you know, then why not? Because it's obviously sweeting you as well. Yeah. So why not then give it, in order that both of you are feeling the sweetness of whatever you're giving? It's for me, that's counterproductive. You know, she's enjoying it. I'm going to hold it back. That is a form of control, which is a quote from what it says. It's that control is a form of abuse, domestic violence. Which, if you listen to the video last week, you'll see why I said what I said. I'm not saying you may intentionally not know that you are actually doing that, but
a lot of people don't know.
You know, but I think that at the end of the day, I'm of the opinion that, you know, and back then I was exactly the same way, in the respects of, if it's sweeter, I'm going to give her more. Yeah. If it's sweet, it's sweet in me, because if she's enjoying me making love to her or having sex, because they are two different things, and we'll probably cover that one day, you know, then why not give it to her? Yeah. Remember the song? Give it all you got. You know, there's always a song.
It's always a song.
Always a song. I see it differently, D. You know, give it because it's that good. You know, remember, giving it as good as you can give it is your perspective. Because, and again, that's a subject matter as well, because I don't think anybody should fake coming together. Because and a friend of mine said it as well. She may be listening. You know, I remember having a conversation and said, why would you hurt yourself? You said it earlier on. Why would you pretend that you're having an orgasm so that he thinks like, hey, this who I'm in? Yeah. Why do that? Aren't you depriving yourself of that
right.
ecstasy? And if he's not doing it right, then tell him what he's not doing right.
Teach him. Yeah.
Some people, I heard someone say the other day, they said that me too all for teach a man for these. Yeah. But listen, if you chose that person as your sexual partner, then you know what, and he's not doing what, that's on you. That's on you. So if you want someone,
why pretend? Why pretend if that person isn't even doing it good? That don't make sense. That don't make sense. It doesn't. It's for you. I would be thinking he's getting all the pleasure. Like
he does.
You know what I mean?
And you're there thinking you've been pretending. See, the moment that you start moaning and groaning, he's thinking like, hey, I'm me, you know. Yeah. At that time, really in your head, you're thinking, what the backside you doing? Yeah?
Hurry up and
then he finishes.
Hurry up and come already.
Because he's turned on, by what's going on. He finished and feel good. Hey. And you're there and you're, baby. And you didn't get nothing out of it.
You're miserable.
Yeah.
But that's what that could be another reason why some people don't want to be intimate, because that person's all excited, the man's all excited, done his thing and everything, and you're vexed because you haven't reached the orgasm, you haven't done nothing. Do you know what I mean? And you're just looking at him. He's gone off to sleep. You're just giving him side eye, just looking at him like. Just vexed.
It's a video that I've seen, right, Debbie?
He's snoring, isn't it? All vexed because he's snoring.
There was a video, right? And let me just jump on this quickly. There's a man and woman in bed, and the caption says, "When you believe your man's cheating in his dreams." Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
And he's there sleeping away, and she's looking at him and evil. That she just turn around and thump him. Listen, some of you men need a thump. Yeah.
And then she lay down quickly.
Yeah. You know, because it's like it don't make no sense. Let's read some of this. Does no one want to come in? No one wants to come in today?
No, nobody wants to come in. It's one of those hot topics that people are fighting, that they might say something and people might say, boo, get off. We don't even really care. We just talking our stuff. We just do
about my family. Okay. Sex will get boring. What do you mean, Doran? Sex will get boring. I don't know what you mean by that.
I think it was because when we was talking, he must have interjected and said that.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that women orgasm first. Not in all cases. Some women find it very hard to orgasm, you know? Mm-hmm. And so again, you know, the bedroom is where and men need to understand this, that sometimes you may have to, the foreplay may have to be a bit longer, you know, in order for her to get to that, close to it or to it. And then
I think that we should have a topic about that, because I think even like from speaking to some of my friends, they don't know their bodies enough to be able to have that orgasm. They don't know what to make that person do in order to have that orgasm. Do you get what I mean? Even like there's friends that are not married, you know what I mean? And there's those that are, and conversations that I've had with a number of people, they seem quite prudish, to be quite honest. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that, or no, you know, I wouldn't. And I think that that's a conversation to have, because sometimes people they don't want to be intimate because that person isn't doing it for them. But again, I'm not that type of person to be like, it's not working for me and I don't say nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, if my back is scratching over here, and you're scratching it over here, I'm not just going to be like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to be like, no, I'm scratching over here. I need you to scratch my back. Scratch your hair. Why on earth say to someone, scratch your back, and then they're scratching it on the opposite side and you're like, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Do you know what I mean? And so it's important for both people to say this works for me and this doesn't, because that's why people will also shut down. Do you get what I mean? Because they're not being fulfilled sexually. And I digress, because we're talking about weaponizing. But it is a conversation that I think would be good. So hiya Bev, thanks for jumping on. We're still on. We normally probably do like an hour and a half now. We've nearly done 2 hours.
Should we do what we were going to say and do next week as well on this?
Well, it's only if people really want to join with the conversation, because we were saying we was going to make it 2-part. I think that there's a lot more to be said, but I definitely want to hear what everybody else thinks about it, because you can go really extensive on it, or we can just, you know,
jump off into something else.
Yeah, let's have a look at this comment here. So it's dishonest and unfair to both of you to fake an orgasm. Absolutely. It doesn't benefit nobody. This one, I'm not sure. Some of the men make it out like that want a lady that doesn't have the experience to be able to share what they want, as it means you've had too many men prior to them. You're right, you know, in some cases there are men who want to be the be all and end all, and don't want women to already been, you know, experienced in that area. But then, you know, that's a man that primarily wants to dominate anyway in the bedroom,
which
but
I believe it breeds there's insecurity in him as to why he feels to be in control.
Wants to be in control, but I think that a man does want a woman to be experienced, and if she isn't experienced, oftentimes it's about them growing together in that relationship.
I think if she's an experience or he's an experience, that's where the learning thing comes in. That's where the communication comes in and says, not like that. You know, there's a lot of men that jump on and go 100 miles an hour, and they feel that is 100 miles an hour is the best way, you know, because of maybe stuff that you watch, or because, you know, your friends have said whatever else. But each woman is different, and at the same time, you can make it different each time. You don't have to, you know, 100 miles an hour all the time. You don't have to go 2 miles an hour all the time. You know, I think that you both should create. I'm a person that likes to talk and say, is that all right? You know, I remember back in the day, I'd be silent.
Yeah, you wouldn't even hear me breathe. It wasn't about intimacy.
No,
it wasn't about that. It was about you fulfilling that lust. And when you're fulfilled, that's it. You're not interested in what the other person is whether they're getting pleasure from it, yes or no. That's neither here nor there.
You grow and understand. Go on.
Being able to express too much of what you like can come across like you're too experienced, pretty much like what was said before. And I think that I don't know. I don't know if there's a harm in people showing that they're too experienced. Is there harm in that?
Listen, everybody has a past. We're coming from somewhere. And if it's the case that you had multiple partners and here you are now settling with somebody, then you had multiple partners. As long as you're not coming and bringing something on them, it is what it is. And if you're experienced, you experience. It doesn't mean that he should look down on her or she should look down on him if he's not experienced or she's not experienced enough. You know, that's the coming together, you know, intimately and enjoying the moment together. Because even me, I had to leave my past behind. You know, it took me ages to take off those rags, you know, and taking it into one another and another and another. And there was almost this expectancy that, you know what, well, if you're 35, if you're 40, if you're whatever else, you should be experienced, you know, because I am, you know, and there was an arrogance about it that I am, but I know nothing. Yeah. The next relationship that you're in, you know nothing because you're supposed to be growing with this person, you know,
this new person.
And, you know, and when I say I know nothing, I know what I know, but this is a new person. And as I said, I had to learn to take off those pasts, you know, in order to appreciate, let's say like now, my wife, I have to appreciate that, you know, being 100 miles an hour, man, wouldn't work, you know, unless she says,
time,
you know,
take time.
Yeah. You know, no, I don't want anything with you anymore because, you know, you hurt or you're too big or whatever else it is. Because I've heard these things as well, you know, from men who have said, you know, I'm oversized for my woman, or they said my wife likes that, you know, but you know, it doesn't. You have to know who you're with. You have to. You do, and you do need to be vocal. You really do.
Let's share this one. Truly hidden. My ex-husband used it as a weapon. Would ask me, "Who taught you that?"
Wow.
And get vexed. See, these people that are just wrong out there. You know, the people do stuff like that. Yeah, if you do something kinky, it's like, hold on a minute.
Where you know that from?
And where you learn that from? You never learned that from me.
See, and the thing is that might be just in that moment that you want to try something. It could be just at that moment, you know, that you know what, I'm gonna do this. What you do? No. Why are you doing that? But it might just be in that moment. Do you know what
I mean? Would withhold was almost borderline sexless marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, and it does happen. Like I'm saying, it's not just the women that do it. The men do it too.
Men do it too.
Said immature. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is, like you said, Paul, we're all coming from a past, and we all got things that we experience and stuff.
Yeah.
And some people, they are going to want to try different things in the relationship, and it's for both of you to say, this works for me or that doesn't work for me. And it's perfectly fine. I'm still online. They can see you. And it's perfectly fine to say yes, no, you know, and work together. If it's not both of you coming together, then it's not going to work.
Let me read some of what my friend Yellow wrote. He said, if a man is aroused enough to perform the act, even though at first he was reluctant for whatever reason, I do not think the impact mentally is as harsh on him as it would be for the woman. If the roles are reversed, as in she is not feeling it or really wanting it, but goes through the motions just to please the man. And there are some women who go through the motion just to please it, but aren't you depriving yourself? He also says,
and it's unfair to yourself and it's unfair to the man.
Absolutely. He said men tend to hide their emotions more than women. Whether the truth is women are more emotional than men, or maybe men are more emotional than women, but will not show it, is something we will never know. You can take all the surveys you want, ask every adult on the planet who is to say any of us are being truthful in the answers we give. I hear you. And Yellow, you're saying that you might not be the right candidate for being on this show. No, everybody's the right candidate, because it's again, our disclaimer is that we're having a conversation, and our disclaimer is that, you know what, you take the meat and throw back the bones, or you don't take none of it, you know. And it is about everybody having their own opinion as well. We're only trying to give some nuggets that may help, you know, and having this conversation may help those to have a conversation with their wives or their partners that they're with right now. It might not even be for anybody on here, but someone else who will see this will then say, oh, you know what, I'm going to start this conversation with my husband, with my wife, you know, with my partner, because I don't actually talk that much. You know, I know what I like, but I don't actually translate that, you know. So you are a right candidate, because everybody is, just to put it out there. Okay.
Absolutely. So we're gonna wrap up. You guys are all quiet. You know, not quiet in the chat, but nobody wanted to jump on. But that's perfectly fine. I think that we would all say that weaponizing sex within your marriage, your relationship, is not the right thing to do. And I think that we've given a number of instances where it can be considered that you're weaponizing it. And it's really to have that self-reflection and think, am I actually doing that within a relationship? And if I am doing that, why am I doing that? And to deal with the challenge, because there will be a reason why you're weaponizing it. And it's to address that.
Absolutely.
And it's to apologize to the person.
Listen,
You know,
I
this show,
100%
you could show this to them and say, do you know what? Because I was watching this made me realize that I was doing this. And I'm really sorry. That was not my intention. And I'm going to have to deal with that resentment or that bitterness that I'm feeling in order to make sure that our relationship, there's intimacy in our relationship. And get some outside help, get some support to deal with the challenges and the issues within your relationship. But don't continue doing that, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Because you know what it does? It breeds fear also within the relationship. Because if I'm not being intimate with my husband, and it's been weeks and it's been months and it's been years, and you're just having sex every so often, I'm going to start thinking, when he's going out, is he getting sex out there? Even though I'm the person that is stopping that person from being intimate.
That's key.
I am now in a state of anxiety and fear.
Paranoia and fear, yep.
And paranoia, yeah, because I know I'm not giving him nothing. And I know that he wants something. And if I'm not giving him nothing, when he goes out and he's gone longer than what I expect him to, could he be out there having sex? Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? So it breeds other things. And then you can start accusing that person for being unfaithful. You can start dealing with that person like they are being unfaithful. But that's because you're not giving that person anything to work with. Nothing. And I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair to them, and I think it's unfair to self, because now you're in that state of anxiety and fear and wondering, and you ought not to be in that place if you address the
and that
situation.
thing might just happen. That thing might just happen. And then what you're gonna say? I knew it. I knew you was doing this. I knew, and all he or she has to turn around and say is, well, you weren't intimate with me. What was I? You know, I had a need. Yeah, I know someone who said they, for most of their marriage, if they get it twice, they actually said once, but I'm sure they meant once or twice a year, and they've been married for 7 years, I think it is. Yeah,
I'd have been. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, they said, you know. Come on now.
But I would have to ask the question.
That's him. That's him. That's the him, though. He's the one withholding from her.
Yeah, but I would have to ask, like, in the early stages of their relationship, what was it like? Do you get what I mean? Because all right, let me put it this way, yeah. I know I said I was going to wrap up, but I wanted to put this out there. Like, if a man, because I was watching some preaching today, and they was kind of alluring to a man being impotent. Yeah. Now, if a man is experienced, because, like, you know, there's that impotence for men, and there's like that midlife crisis for women where they go through the menopause. Yeah. Can do for men. Now, if that is an issue where there might be premature ejaculation or something, why not deal with that? Why not deal with the issues that you're experiencing, rather than saying, I'm not going to do it? If there is those kind of issues that are going on, yeah, get help, innit? Get help. But withholding it will definitely make that other person feel like you're not interested with them. And all right, so say for instance that man is withholding the sex. He now must be thinking, my wife looks sexy, my wife looks good. You could be them thinking she could be getting it somewhere else, especially if you're not even saying nothing to the person. Because that would be my fear. I'd be thinking, you're not even saying nothing to me, you know, so what is it you're doing? And it works both ways, for the man and for the woman. If the man's not giving any, I can't see how you'll be sitting there thinking, I'm perfectly fine with my wife looking sexy and I'm not giving her any. When she goes out, you're not going to be thinking, men are going to find her attractive and wondering if she's going to give in to their advances. you know. So it's setting yourself up, really, like Paul said.
There's some people, Debbie, they turn to machines, you know, vibrators, etc. They turn to porn, and that becomes
again, it's another challenge.
That's a whole different. That's another challenge in itself, because
just open a door for demonic.
It takes you down, and that's a whole different subject, and we're going to cover that one day. It takes you down a whole different path, you know. I want to end with this. I'm going to read these just quickly. If these are what I was saying about the points earlier on, if you have let yourself go, are sending an unspoken message that you're not available. I realize that sounds shallow. This is what the person is saying, but the truth is that men are visual beings, and attraction is visual. Experience is a visual experience for them. Letting yourself go is also a sign of negative self-talk. So it's a double-barreled weapon in that sense. If you are intentionally overtly sexual when you are out in public, you are using your sexuality as a weapon. Being sexy is one thing, but being inappropriately sexual is a sign that you're trying to use your sexuality in a relationship. If you keep track of things you want your partner to do and withhold sex until he does what you want, you are definitely using sex as a weapon. This is the last bit. Sex is an important aspect of romantic. Sex is an important aspect of romantic relationships. It can and should be used to deepen your connection to each other and to deepen your connection to yourself. Reducing sex to the status of a weapon virtually ensures that the relationship will end unless you commit to working with a trained coach or therapist who specializes in sexuality and relationships. That's the part I just wanted to.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And you know what? It just jogged my memory quickly about something that I actually listened to, and they was talking about the intimacy for men. That is their emotional connection. So you know, like some people, oftentimes people say men are not quite emotional, you know, but that's their emotional connection, that skin to skin connection that causes them to have a deeper sense of emotional connection with you. And this therapist was saying, if you as a woman stop a man from having intimacy with you, having sex with you, you're breaking off the ability for him to have that emotional tie, because men find it harder to connect emotionally. But if they are having intimacy with you often, it causes them to be more connected to you emotionally. That came back to mind when I was listening to it.
Listen to that,
yeah.
Well, listen, I think it was a great subject and great topic. Doran saying it's hell on earth to think like that. I don't know which part you meant, Doran. He says also the male feminine energy. That's a whole different debate that I would have on the male feminine energy. I think that's something that comes, well, again, it's an opinion, because I think that can come from mum and dad, where you got that balance, you know. And one can be more than the other. You may be male, but there's more feminine because of your connection with your mum or girlfriends, you know, and it can take you down another route if that be the case. And likewise, you know, just being man, you know, can take you another route where you seem like you're just disconnected. But that's the end of that. Travel buff, laughing at, and I don't know what part that was. Laughing at where you learn that from. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was earlier on. Yeah.
But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Debbie. You know,
thank you.
Being a great coach.
And thank you for doing your research and coming with all of the explanations and everything. That was awesome. Thanks a lot for that. And thanks for joining us, guys. It's been an awesome subject. If you've got any comments, anything that you want to share with us, you can always put that in the chat, because we go back and look at the chat. Do you go back and look at the chat?
Oh, we always look at the chat.
You could go back and look on the chat, and subject matters. We're always open to hear what you want to hear about, like talk about. Us you know, so you can always send that through to us. And yeah, I'm looking
tell
forward
your friends,
to
tell your family, like,
absolutely,
share,
like
subscribe.
you've got, like, share and subscribe, you know, do all of those stuff and put on your notifications, because that always reminds you. Sometimes I don't get the opportunity to say we're live now, but your notification will let you know that, you know, the show is actually coming up. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. You've enjoyed it, right, Paul?
I've enjoyed it. You've enjoyed it. And they would have enjoyed it because those that commented as well. But for you guys who are watching this after our live show, thank you for watching. Thank you. Please share. Please sit down with your friends, your family, whatever else it is, and debate as well. And hopefully you'll join us as well next time live. Okay?
Yeah.
Well,
right.
thank you for joining us on Gym Time. Get your motivation.
Absolutely. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.